I think at Worlds they started to show some of that potential, but this team, if they can actually live up to the hype surrounding them, is perfectly capable of repeating their Champions Winter victory from last year.
Well, this is their first big chance to show that. Picks and bans for game number 1 between Incredible Miracle 2 and Najin Blacksword, Annie, Gragas, and Syndra, the first 3 bans.
Well, again, Kuro on Syndra in these positional zone-based mid laners, very dangerous. And the Gragas going out, we saw how good Nagne was at Worlds up against Faker.
Yeah, he actually had one of the few games where you get to see Faker lose was Nagne against Faker's Gragas. You hardly ever see Faker lose a lane, but Nagne is one of the few to claim that title.
Yeah, and then we see the Olaf, pardon me, going down here as well. And Rainover, known as a top flight Olaf player.
Yep. And Olafs, as we saw, have only been getting stronger in the offseason. There's an Italy ban.
And there's the Lucian getting through, however.
Yep, that's right. Lucian's so popular. No Nidalee, but you can pair that with a lot of other things. You know, this could be a situation where you may want to actually think about grabbing that Jace.
Yeah, especially since Gragas is banned. And something we haven't seen yet is the Ziggs buffs in 313. They may make, I want to see a team play Ziggs.
Wait a second. Did I just hear that right? Is Monte Cristo himself advocating the choice of a Ziggs pick?
Of course.
In Professional League of
Why
Legends.
I didn't like him was he was bad before and people were inexplicably picking him thinking he was good. They buffed him.
Yeah, I think, let's be honest here, it went a little bit beyond just game stats.
No, it
I
did
feel
not.
Like I think it did.
Did not.
I think you woke up at night yelling, Ziggs!
All right, have it your way.
I will have it my way. That's not an advertisement for a fast food company. That's just how I'm going to have it, Monte Cristo. And possibly a Jungle Shaco, but I don't think so. Renekton would be the much more likely pickup, grabbing that one for PLL, keeping it away from Expansion.
The Vayne pickup so early is a little bit interesting for Najin Blacksword. I kind of wonder what they're going to be doing with that.
Yeah.
Expansion also has Barrier selected up in the top lane, which makes me think that this may in fact be a top lane Vayne pick.
Okay.
Or at least they're considering their options right there.
Yep.
Especially if that Renekton gets grabbed, it would be a solid choice for that top lane. But that's the only reason I can think that he has Barrier selected right now.
Yeah, so Renekton, Sona getting locked in for Incredible Miracle 2. Shyvana, definitely a good top laner as well right now. One of the stronger top lanes that we've seen come up in the last month or two.
Yeah, Shyvana, a very popular pick at the moment in the top lane. Really one of those champions that can duel quite effectively. Her base stats are extremely high. She has a great ability to get back into the back lines.
Yep.
And with the rise again of these team fighting compositions, Shyvana with an Orianna ball gets very scary.
Yep. Absolutely. So will it be locked in though? We'll see.
Yeah, the Sona pickup, not too surprising with Lucian. Gives you some good poke and harassment potential in lane, and that will be the Shyvana grab.
Yeah, okay, and Thresh as well for Kayn. They couldn't keep it away from him, and it's going to be, with all these new bans coming in, with the patches, with the buffs and things like that, it's going to be tough to keep some of those popular support picks away from some of the really scary support players here in Korea.
Indeed it will be, and they will be saving that mid lane pick for last. Doesn't look like we're going to see that top lane Vayne. Makes me wonder why the Barrier is still up there right there.
Yeah, it's a good question.
Expansion may be playing Shyvana with Barrier. That would be quite interesting, but I expect we'll see that summoner change. Caitlyn, wow, this could be a little bit interesting. They could go for a double AD carry composition with a Nunu in the jungle in order to give them some nice attack speed buffs and give them a choice about who that Blood Boil goes down on to.
Right, whatever lane Nunu shows up in is going to start to push and push really, really hard. So that is a way that they can kind of dictate the pace of the game a little bit too if they decide to lock in, or try to dictate it anyway.
Well, this would be very unique, and yes, we are going to see it.
I love it. This is Champions Winter, guys. This
is a split push composition based around Renekton split pushing, and then we should see just a huge siege from Caitlyn and Lucian. Instead of picking the Jace, instead of taking the Nidalee, they're going for the Caitlyn range in order to push people off turrets. It will function similarly.
And are we actually going to have a Lulu pickup here? Orianna, I mean, like you said, getting the ball onto Shyvana would work, and that's what they're going to go with. A little bit safer pick I like that.
That's the synergy that they were looking for right there. And Expression is going to be taking barrier on Shyvana up into the top lane.
You know, I feel like he feels that he needs that extra tankiness to just dive in. And I know we're talking about Shyvana, right? But it seems like Expression's just like, all right, I just want to be super, super tanky. If you notice, there's actually 3 barriers on Najin Blacksword.
This is really weird. I mean, but this is really weird from both sides, so.
Do you think maybe there's a possibility of like an earlier than usual team fight before Shyvana really has all those defensive
There's
stats?
Something special that they've got planned right here. But triple barrier, and Orianna, by the way, has barrier as well. Of course, Vayne does, and Shyvana. So in one hand, we have Kuro with his mid lane Lucian coming out, going for the early siege. And then we have triple barrier appearing on Najin Blacksword. So this is what I was hoping for from this group, from this game. This is why I was so excited about this game tonight. These are 2 creative, solid, high-level teams going head-to-head.
Well, we really are in a season where we're going to see so much crazy stuff between Season 4 hitting, between all the changes to the meta that are currently happening in our post-Worlds world here in Korea. It's going to be awesome, guys. Well, the game is loading. Najin Blacksword versus Incredible Miracle 2. It's almost time. Let's get in the game. Ridiculously photogenic pro gamer.
Watches a handsome devil, that's for sure.
There you go. Well, here we go, guys.
Okay, we did see. Sorry, I got excited.
Well, you ruined it now, Monte Cristo. Say whatever analysis stuff you need to say.
Expression moved off of barrier at the very last second right there, so we couldn't get that in for you guys. But we still do have double barriers on both teams right now, so it's a little bit interesting as it is. And some early action right now is Najin Sword does a 5-man invade on blue side, gets a couple of wards down. They don't think they're going to be able to stop this one. So again, IM2 going for a unique take on this siege and poke composition that we've talked about being very strong right now since the assassin nerfs. And so instead of getting that Nidalee, instead of getting that Jace and the Gragas that was banned out, they are going to try it out with a Lucian instead. Now what this is going to look like is IM2 is going to be trying to get some very fast rotations down in order to get turrets. They'll use the culling Lucian's ultimate to push everybody off of the turrets, and in combination with Ace in the hole, it should be pretty good at chunking people. It'll force them to back off the turrets, it'll force them to head back into the base, and then they'll take the tower and then just rotate over to the next one. Now,
so cool.
It is cool if it works. If you start losing towers, you're going to lose the game with this strategy, right? You have to maintain that pressure at all times, otherwise the strategy simply doesn't work. So it really is going to highlight how well IM2 can execute these rotations.
Well, we will see. There goes the red buff first of all, and I mean, like you said, this is going to be one of the really cool things about seeing some of these other teams sort of come up, is they're going to bring such a neat, unique flair to everything. A blue buff steal for IM as well.
This is a bit interesting. So we did see the deep ward going down from Najin.
Whoa, they catch PLL. A little bit of damage put onto him early on.
Yeah, he's got that sustain from the Doran's shield, though, as well as his Q, so he should be okay. Kuro putting some hurt onto Nagne. Now, one of the common counters in mid lane, well, I shouldn't say common, but known counters to Orianna is Corki. So I'm curious to see, because players typically build Lucian as a Trinity Force AD carry.
That's true,
and so he does have that kind of long-range burst in order to shove Orianna out of lane. So I'm curious if it's going to work in a similar fashion to what we typically see from Corki versus Ori. Watch, going ahead with the blue buff steal.
You know, the passive, too, on Lucian is going to make him so good in lane, so easy, so able to trade, and that's another one of the big threats that you see from this pick lately. And I just love it. I love seeing new champions picked up quickly, you know?
Okay, well, take a look at this. Reignover actually started red. Well, he's got the blue buff now. So he is going into lane. as well. So he went around the long way around the bottom side after picking up his own red.
Right.
And so he just heading into that 2v2. Now this shows that IM2 is really dedicated to getting that first turret, as well they should be. They have that range and poke advantage in the 2v1, so if everything stands even, they will be able to get the turret down first and start that very deadly series of rotations.
Right.
And you gotta love the Nunu with this too. If you blood boil that Caitlyn, you're going to be able to push down those towers even faster.
Yeah. As it is, Expression trying to 1v2 in that bot lane, so a little bit of turret damage being done by Incredible Miracle 2 already.
And here comes Watch.
Yeah.
Going for the 3v2 in this lane. He may be looking just to counter any kind of all-in attempt from IM2.
Yeah, already backing because he sees Rainover has backed off as well. He's got better things to do.
Well, the thing about this jungle Nunu is he's going to be able to go consume the wolf camp and then head right back into lane, which is exactly what he's going to be doing. And so it allows him to get that little bit of extra XP and gold, and then still release the pressure from the top. And it also makes the enemy question constantly. It'll make Black Sword question whether he's actually gone for good or whether he's just popping over to the wolves for just a second, and he's going to show back up. It'll make Watch have a lot harder time in terms of his decision making as to where he's going to go in the jungle.
Right, and Watch always traditionally kind of an aggressive jungler himself too, and you know, a lot of the aggression you get from jungling is based on knowing where your opposing jungler is.
Yeah,
So
I think that if they're smart, they really need to ward the blue brush of IM in order to make sure that they know when exactly he's coming back and when he's leaving for good. But he is coming, looks like, for some race steals here in the mid. Watch coming around the side.
Yeah, actually, Nunu coming in from behind. Nagne's going to be able to get away, so both mid laners perfectly fine here. Watch slowed down a little bit, but no first bloods or prospect of first blood yet. Just a very even game at 5:30.
PLL goes in for the slice and dice and cultivate, but not quite clearing that one out yet. And now we see Rainover using that blood boil. Now that bot turret is nearly down. IM has a big tower advantage right now.
Yeah. Watch coming back up through the jungle here. They may want to dive PLL. PLL's so low, they should be able to dive this fairly easily.
This is very smart, but that's if they can get it executed before Rainover comes back. He's on mid.
Oh, we'll see. Oh, nice. Dodges a cocoon, and they're going to get a lot of damage done to that tower, but they would have liked to get that first blood.
Very well reacted to by IM2 as well.
Yeah.
You can see that Kuro, they read the situation properly, and Kuro was already halfway up the river in order to turn that around if need be. So IM2 really on top of where Watch is, and they're doing a good job. I mean, they're really out jungling them right now.
Oh, they did grab Rainover. There's the flame, a little bit more damage done to him. Just trying to put as much pressure as they can on that lane. Meanwhile, the bot turret does go down. Incredible Miracle gets the first turret of the game.
Yeah, we'll see what they do after this. They're probably not going to be going for that Dragon. Rainover up in the top lane, used his smite on the cannon minion. There is the cannon wave right now. So what they're doing is they're pushing out the cannon minion wave in the bot lane so that the wave can't be frozen at tier 2 turret.
Yeah.
So yeah, shoving it all the way up. Wow, are they just going to stay here, get some even more turret damage down, looks like.
I guess so. I mean, why not? Well, you've got the opportunity. Certainly can. Rainover gets wrapped up by the cocoon, but way behind the turret.
Looks like they're playing a little bit of a game of chicken right now since they do have all the junglers up in that top lane. They know they should be able to be free, but we do see Nagne wrapping around the side right now. That will force IM2 to back off. The Kuro heading up into the top lane.
Oh, Net's out of there, doesn't get hit by the distortion. There's Shyvana coming in with the ultimate. They've got Vecchio completely trapped, and there's first blood going to Nagne. And they get a turret on top of it. Really good little turnaround from Najin Black Sword.
Yeah, Kuro left the mid lane, did not apply pressure, ran up into top, and ended up doing nothing at all. So IM had an advantage right there that they really didn't use the best. If they had shoved out the cannon minion wave and then rotated into mid with Kuro, they would have had a very good opportunity to take the mid turret there instead of losing their AD carry and then losing. They definitely would have lost the top lane turret, but when they had both junglers up there wasn't much they could do at that point.
Yeah, very true. And so both people in the top lane recalling right now for Incredible Miracle 2. And that little bit of a gold advantage is already a bit scary for Najin's sword. I mean, like you said, that pressure that Incredible Miracle needed to keep up just hasn't been able to do it.
Well, they're making a pretty strong rotation here for the mid lane. They may be going after this dragon. They probably should just be going after turrets at this point. Just get some eyes on the dragon and then shove very aggressively as 4 or 5 man.
Yeah, if they can trade a dragon for a turret, that's actually really good for them in this particular game.
So interesting, they may be giving over that red buff to PLL. We can't really see what's going on right there. And we'll find out in a minute who actually ended up with that buff. Betkyo and Ondal still in that bottom lane where they knocked the tower down, shoving out the wave, and they will be getting control over this dragon. No, red buff went over to Reignover, so they're going to use the Consume and Smite in order to burst down this dragon very quickly.
Yep.
Kuro gets a little bit caught out. Got to be careful.
Yeah, caught by Nagne. Don't want to mess with that. Betkyo taking some damage, gets Cocoon, but he's going to be okay because of that sustain from Sona. Condemning against the wall. Ondal in trouble. Watch jumping in the middle of everything. Crescendo locks up Kane for just a moment, but Watch goes down. PLL Renekton on top of everybody. Nagne coming in from behind with Expression though. Oh, what a shockwave! A 3-man shockwave, but not a lot of capitalization. Prey pops a barrier. Can't get away. Couldn't quite get to the edge to flash in time. And that's a 2 for 0.
And a dragon.
And a dragon in favor of Incredible Miracle, yeah.
So they had a good fight there, zoning out from the side and just couldn't quite get in enough. In that case, Watch went in a little bit too deep for the steal. A bit of a miscommunication right there because he overextended for the steal, died before he could really help his team. And without him there, they weren't going to be able to do much in order to win that fight. So
it looked
this
like
is the same thing that we see from Najin Sword a lot, is just not the most crisp or clear play calling.
Yeah. It seemed like, too, they were maybe going to be able to rotate in behind him and trap him in the jungle, and it was a good shockwave, but just not enough follow-up,
Well,
didn't have the position they needed.
There's just not enough AP yet. Nagne only has a Chalice and a Doran's Blade, so yeah, the shockwave useful for CC right now, but just simply isn't going to be doing as much damage as you might expect. Expression managed to snag the blue buff right there.
Right. Not bad. A polite applause from the crowd. They're like, oh yes, we like the blue buff is stolen.
And here we go. This is where it starts, though. A ward down in the middle. Blood-boiled Caitlyn with the Sona there in the mid lane.
That's right.
And it's going to be interesting to see how Najin Blacksword really reacts to this. Watch and Nagne already there, and we see Kane coming over to help with this as well. They know they need a lot of defense in order to keep this tower upright.
Well, so far, not a lot of damage being put on that just yet. Let's take a look at the replay of that blue buff steal. Check this out. Wow. That's great.
A little bit of skill, a little bit of luck.
That's one of those situations where you're like, well, I'll just give it a try. It's probably not going to be enough damage. And then you're like, oh, sweet, I actually got it.
Yeah, definitely going to be helpful, especially since PLL does have that red buff in the top lane.
It is little things like that that do cause a big difference later on, too. So definitely a good little turn of events for Expression.
This is a pretty big commitment to stopping this wave here. IM2 is really letting Najin Sword dictate the pace of their rotations by coming back down in order to deal with the bot lane wave. I don't know that I really agree with this. I think at some point that they can actually just continue to trade objective damage, because inherently with Caitlyn and Nunu, they're going to burn down towers faster. And so if they continue to just aggressively rotate and not play into their opponent's strategies and not play into the pressure that Najin Blacksword is putting on, but then just put down some of their own, that they're going to be doing better in the long run.
Yeah, exactly.
Because Najin Blacksword, they want to drag this game out. They do. Because in the long haul, if we're talking about a 35-minute game, Najin Blacksword is going to be able to armor up, especially because they have this Shyvana. Well, I mean, with Shyvana's passive and her base stats, she is going to be extremely strong against double AD, immensely strong. So it's scary, and IM2, if they want to do this, they have to play much more aggressively.
Well, it's tough to come into this situation being, kind of one of the quote-unquote weaker teams in the group, and then playing a style where you need to control the game the entire time against a team like Najin Sword. I mean, it's not going to be easy.
And using the ace in the hole right there will push them out of lane, yes, but you have no objective to gain from that. In this situation, with this team composition, you want to save ace in the hole so that you can actually get an objective off of it. And yes, they pushed out the lane. Yes, they're going back right now. They need to go mid. They need to group with Nunu in order to actually make something happen here.
Yeah, I feel like Nunu's just been too busy running all over the map, putting out fires at this point. Just kind of trying to sustain, trying to keep his lanes from getting too pushed himself.
Well, looks like Caitlyn's going back into the bottom lane right now.
Yeah. All right.
Well, to Najin Blacksword's credit, they are doing a good job of stopping the rotations. And how you do that is you put pressure down on the lanes, because that makes the team that wants to rotate and wants to group, if you're split pushing like this, it forces them to make a decision about whether they want to base race you, whether they want to lose turret. And Expression is the kind of top laner, we talked about this before the game starts, he's the kind of guy that will just shove the lane endlessly. This is his style. He plays like Hotshot GG did back in the day. I will stay in my lane, and I will push it, and I will create pressure, and I will become a tanky, unkillable monster.
Push it real good.
So, Vecchio off by himself. He's not even pushing the lane at this point. He's just last hitting, and the window of time is slowly closing for IM2 right here. They may have a lead right now, but they need a substantial lead. They need to take control of this game. Otherwise, Expression is going to become unkillable, just absolutely unkillable to their composition.
Yeah, I feel like we've seen this happen before, and we'll see. I mean, they're not really even pushing very aggressively, too. Like you said, it is just mostly just last hitting. Prey's like, all right, I'll take some free farm. Sure, why not? Expression, look at that turret, too. Still nearly all the health on that top lane tier 1 turret.
Yeah, Shyvana is just so good against double AD. Especially now that she has that Sunfire cape, and with a gap closer like her 1000 range ultimate, and the fact that she can speed herself up with burnout, she will just choose an AD carry and stick to it. And especially Caitlyn, who has no attack speed steroids by herself, she does with Nunu, but you know, you're just not going to be able to kill Shyvana.
Yeah. Is in the hole, pushes Nagne back a little bit, but not a whole lot.
And there we go.
Yeah, there's the culling, so.
That's how you use this. This is why Lucian's strong right now. Expression just sitting there. He's waiting to ult.
Yeah, and there he comes over the wall, right onto Nunu, coming in the middle of everybody. Nice counter crescendo, though, from Zona. Oh, nice shockwave, and then the play, then the box. Really good follow-up. Vecchio very, very low. Shyvana still trying to come in. Prey dueling with Rainover on the outside of the fight. A double kill already for Watch, picking off a few low-health people. And it looks like Nagne should be able to get Umdal. He does. Rainover. NPLL, and the last one surviving there.
The hero of that fight, doll, was Kane on Thresh right there, because the reaction time when Nagne got the good shockwave off to flash in, hit your flay on 3 people, and then the box, that is what won that fight. Because you have to be very careful about the kite coming out of IM. And that chunked them low enough, it bought them enough time to deal more and more damage due to the CC, that they came out with the big win right there. This is why we see the bans against Kane's Thresh.
Let's watch this again, and just watch the play that Kane makes here after the engage.
Right, so Expression comes in, and he is going to be forced to flash out. Now watch Vecchio and Kuro on the side. So they do overcommit a little bit right here, and we do see the 3-man right here. Kane, boom, comes in with the flash and the flay straight into the box. Multiple flashes from IM, but they flash right into the wall of the box right there. They get slowed up, and that causes the chase down from Vayne, from Shyvana, from Orianna. Beautifully played. Beautiful team fight from Najin Sword.
Yeah, made it really easy for Watch to come in and pick off a couple people as well.
And there's Prey. And there's someone praying for Prey.
That's right.
As we get back into the game.
I'm going to praise disciples. So, at this point, we've seen the lead taken away by Najin Blacksword through that great team fight in mid lane, and the window of opportunity is nearly closed right now. I feel like there's a tiny little bit of a draft coming through, but sooner or later, Najin Sword's going to get a little bit chilly and just walk over and slam that thing shut.
I'm afraid not, Joe. I think at this point, IM number 2, unless there's a massive error from Najin Blacksword, is kind of out of this game. Just because they needed to take the rotation momentum early on with their composition. It just didn't happen. It didn't happen at all. And now they're down towers. They're down a tower. Expression gets it again!
Are you kidding me? Wow. Expression.
Oh, that's a heartbreaker, especially against Nunu, who has consumed. Now his smite was down, but that was a weird one that he actually managed to pick that up. Consume may have been on cooldown. But
that hurts, man.
That's actually probably a pretty big mistake by Rainover. We didn't see exactly what happened, but and Watch and Kane.
It's Pictine on Dahl in a little bit of trouble. Cocoon hits. There's the follow-up with the death sentence. They're going to try to execute him instead, being happy with a little bit of damage done, dodging a shot from Lucian. Meanwhile, Prey just kind of randomly way deep in enemy lines.
Yeah, that was not the best play call right there from Najin Blacksword either, with the Elise build that they have, which is the Ancient Golem first, very different from the build that we saw in Bengi's Jungle Elise in the last series of games of Sork Shoes into Haunting Dies. You're just not going to have the damage even to kill a support, so not a lot. That's kind of a waste of time from Najin Blacksword. But they continue to have the upper hand in terms of the map pressure. We do see Nagne pretty comfortably controlling the mid lane at this point, and you can see he's also got the Seeker's Arm Guard right now. They're itemizing heavily, of course, into armor because that's the only kind of damage that exists on IM2, with the exception of a little bit coming out of Sona and that Dominus.
I wouldn't be worried about that too much. Not a ton of damage.
Well, Randuin's coming from Expression 2, and that's really, once that item gets done, that is truly the death knell, because when Shyvana will gap close into your back line and hit both your AD carries with Randuin's, with that attack speed debuff, the no damage you're already doing to these armor-heavy champions gets even worse, Stoa.
And it's going to be tough to continue to try to push that mid lane, too, because, I mean, Nagne and Orianna has really good wave clear. Prey obviously attacking very quickly now that he's got some of those attack speed items, so he's going to be able to help clear the waves as well.
Yeah, Expression's also very close to Randuin's right now, less than 1,000 gold.
Right.
Picked up the Giant Spell, so they just have to wait it out. Najin Sword playing a very patient game, defending the turrets when they have to, going in when the threat of the turrets comes in, but they're not getting greedy. They're not going heavily for the turrets. They're not committing a lot. They're just keeping the lanes shoved at the moment. Now this keeps IM2 spread out, but they don't have to kill the towers. All they have to do is just farm, keep them spread out, get the armor items, win the game.
Yep.
Very simple for them.
Another red buff steal coming in from Najin Blacksword. Rain over right there. They're going to go ahead and put down the ward. Take out their own. Use that Oracle. And the top lane battle continues. Dragon versus Alligator. They're like almost cousins, you know. They should really be getting along.
Scaled friends.
That's right.
Oh, looks like they might finally get that mid lane turret. Nagne shielding himself to absorb some of that tower damage.
Yeah, looks like they might as well grab that.
And now, this is IM2. Misplayed their composition, misplayed their strategy. And this is one of those things where they're going to go and look at the replay afterwards. And
Prey! Almost making a play, taking a lot of turret hits, ace in the hole. Oh, that was actually way closer than I thought it was going to be. Prey really needs to be careful here.
When you have Caitlyn with an early Bloodthirster, you get a lot of stacks.
Yeah, that's true.
Pretty fast. And
and you still need to take it seriously. They do have a nice lead, but there's still a lot of damage potential coming out of Incredible Miracle.
Well, decreasingly as the game goes on. Honestly, Prey can probably just build a Randuin's of his own right now and be fine.
It's true, yeah.
In fact, that may be his best item choice. He looks like he's going to go for a Zeal, but an early Randuin's on Vayne in this particular situation is totally acceptable, because you don't have to deal a lot of damage. You just have to survive what's coming out of the other AD carries, and you're going to be totally fine with just the Blade of the Ruined King and a little bit of attack speed.
It's dragon time again in just a moment.
Yeah, 3 seconds left. Total control to Najin Blacksword right now. Watch with the Oracles. Doing a good job of clearing early on. Ninja Tabby, of course, coming out. Expression has finished his Randuin's now. So we're pretty much there feeling very comfortable, and they're going to be able to actually start diving or playing a little bit more aggressively.
Yeah, we talk a lot about how the gold lead doesn't mean everything, and usually we're talking about that when it's a big gold gap between the two teams, but this is a situation where the gold lead is actually very small for Najin's Sword, but yet the game is still very much in their favor.
Well, of course, it just depends on, because they don't have to have a big gold lead, because they only have to build armor items, right? They don't need a lot of items. So the effective power of that gold in this particular game against this composition goes way up, right?
Yep.
So they're very, very comfortable right now. They'll be even more comfortable after picking up the next dragon right here.
Yep.
And this has just been really patient play from Najin Blacksword. It hasn't been a perfect game from them. There have been some errors, but for the most part, they know exactly how to react to their opponent's composition.
It's fun to kind of look at this Najin Sword and think about the Najin Sword from a year ago, The Mach Noon in the top lane, the hyper-aggression, the do-dive mentality.
Yeah,
and they've changed a lot over the last year.
Expression and Mach Noon are very different styles of players.
Oh, yeah.
Expression, the ultimate farmer, you know he's going to get huge. You know he's going to be pretty tanky. Expression and Flame very similar in terms of their play styles. A comfort with staying in lane, a comfort with putting that pressure on, and not a lot of highly aggressive dive play like we used to see out of Nocknoon.
That's true. A little bit of a lull in the action as the teams regroup a little bit. Najin, Black Sword still exerting that control over the enemy jungle, making sure they get all the buffs and things.
You can see the power of Shyvana's passive right here too, because she has 227 armor with Randuin's and Sunfire. So pretty much unkillable to IM2 right now. And just the resources, that the number of autos that she can absorb right now from the double AD carries is, even if they kill her, they're going to use so much time taking this Shyvana out that the rest of the team is just going to wreak havoc on him, and Prey is going to roll up their tank line before they can do much of anything.
Yep. That split push working pretty well so far. PLL building tanky as well. Oh, here comes Kane. Needs to be a little bit careful there.
Yeah, they're
now that tier 2 turret is trouble. Oh, they nearly grabbed with the Descent. It's a risky move by PLL, but ends up going okay.
Yeah, they do see Prey in the bot lane. Split pushing by himself. King's got to be a little bit careful right now. Wow, he's actually going for the full Phantom Dancer before anything else, but if he does want to split push, that would be the preferable item just because it maximizes his damage. If he does want a team fight, however, maybe looking at a little armor would be okay right now, but perfectly satisfactory if Prey wants to just play this split push style Vayne and they want to just slowly wear down their opponent, which makes sense again. If you can keep IM2 split up, it limits the power that their composition has.
Yeah. So, Rainover tried to make a bit of a difference this game, but that lane pushing thing never really, oh, the minion, no!
Kane trying for the lucky play right there.
That's right.
Couldn't quite get it, Betkyo.
That's a cool trick coming over the wall with the Q and then playing like that, but yeah, Betkyo having good range there. Oh, Watch actually taking a lot of damage. There's the culling, chasing those guys away. Rainover comes out, gets a slow on to Nagne, and they're gonna go, whoa, Kuro with that passive. That's the damage that we're talking about.
Yeah, Flash coming in really useful right there, and they will be able to secure their own red for the first time in a while. Their buffs have been pretty heavily controlled. Betkyo now coming over to the mid lane. This may be the opportunity they need to start taking down some turrets and getting themselves back in the match.
Yeah, that's right. It's not impossible for them to win. It's going to be hard, but things like this are exactly what the doctor ordered. Oh, Shockwave does catch Betkyo. Nice crescendo to try to stop that. Expression coming through the middle of everything, though. They've got him trapped under turret. PLO on top. There's the play. The Kane gave the flash on of Ando. Kuro picks up that turret, and now Najin's sword on the retreat. They get the slow onto Kane. Kuro in a little bit of trouble. Barely dodges the attack from Expression. And IM2 backing off after that successful turret siege. Close call, but IM showing they're not quite dead yet.
Yeah, Prey going to get his own red buff right now. Everybody pretty much on both teams needing to recall after that little tussle in the mid lane. And that's exactly what they'll do. A good opportunity for Prey to go ahead and pick up that Phantom Dancer now, finishing that one off. And Nagne, like he's probably going to be going for a Void Staff after his Zhonya's Hourglass right there. So IM2 showing they still have some life left in them. And now with the double Last Whispers finishing, this is probably the only remaining power spike that we're going to see from IM2. And it's not particularly amazing, but it does punish a little bit of that armor stacking that's been going on, obviously, from Najin Black Sword in this situation. So can they do something with it? It all comes down to those abilities, really. Ace in the Hole and the culling have to be used pretty perfectly in this situation in order to make sure that they get the most out of those Last Whispers, and it has to be used to push people up towers.
Yep. And there's Ace in the Hole.
So doing quite a bit.
Away, yeah.
Doing quite a bit with the Bloodthirster Last Whisper combo.
And it looks like they want to try to get a little bit more control over the dragon area too and see if they can steal that blue buff. We'll see if they can. PLL going into the slice and dice, getting wrapped up by the cocoon. There's a Descent as well. Flay after that. PLL taking a lot of hit. Expression over the wall. Betkyo gets a bit caught. Nice! Oh, wow. Nagne's shockwaves have just been amazing this game. PLL coming back in, though. They want to take out Prey if they get a double kill already, though, for Nagne. PLL can't quite claim a victim, and this is going to be a perfect ace for Najin's sword. What an engage from Expression. Man.
And, yeah, Expression really coming over the wall right there, and then Nagne managing to land the command protect on him to get the ball and set up that shockwave. Really beautiful play right there. That's the kind of old school Ori Shyvana combo that we're used to seeing. We haven't seen it in quite some time, but with the meta going the way it is, we'll be seeing a lot more of it in the future. Just going ahead and taking out that Vision Ward with the Oracles, and an absolutely free as can be Baron for Najin Blacksword.
Doesn't get any easier to take that one. And she's like, oh no, I've just been killed. Use my buff wisely.
I'd love to see a replay of that last fight just so we can take another look at it. But
well,
Nagne,
you could make a highlight video out of Nagne and Shockwaves this game.
PLL just gets caught a little bit alone right there, and Expression, we also see Kuro on the other side of the wall, not optimal positioning. Expression whiffs his Randuin's right there just a little bit, but manages just to walk up with the burnout on, closing the gap into the double AD carries. And IM2 just a little bit confused in terms of whether they were going in on that blue buff or not, because PLL was all in, but Kuro on the other side of the wall, not quite there to make it happen.
Wow, really clutch play from Kane again in that fight, bringing two people away. For sure, Prey would have died if that flay hadn't connected.
Yeah, with that dragon down, Najin Blacksword just has to dot their I's and cross their T's in order to wrap this one up. Right. This game may go for some time just because it's going to be very difficult to siege against Lucian and Caitlyn. They need to dive. Najin Blacksword does, and Expression's ultimate backup, they may be able to pull something like that off moving in here, or they have to rely on Kane to get a good death sentence in.
Yeah.
Because coming for a straight-on siege, not going to be that effective.
Right. And PLL, wow, been so aggressive all game long. And Kuro gets caught by that shockwave, tries to dash away, doesn't end up working. Watch though a bit low. There's a crescendo, catches Watch and Prey. Oh, Watch taken down with the ace in the hole. They threaded the needle on that one.
Yeah, they're still going to be able to keep up this pressure though. Watch coming in a little bit too early right there, and a nice counter crescendo to pick up the kill. But they're not done yet. Still continuing that pressure. PLL pushing out the mid lane. And they're not even going to be able to get that turret.
Wow. And I mean, I feel like we're kind of seeing Najin's Sword in a nutshell right now. You know, very smart, very well played, but they do still make some sloppy mistakes. They do have trouble closing from time to time. This is I feel like this is probably one of the best examples of this is how Najin's Sword is right now. Games.
Yeah, you see a lot of brilliance here. I mean, their communication in the game, the items that they're building, the strategy that they've developed against the team composition of IM has been really solid. But the execution gets kind of wonky at times. And it's not, I mean, they're still a very good team, but Watch gets a little bit ahead of himself right there. And even though he does catch the lantern on the way out, I'm not even sure.
Oh
my.
It's good. Man. That was. Yeah, he knew it. That was a trick shot, if ever I've seen it.
Watch a little bit irked by that one.
Yeah.
That one really wasn't his fault. They did all they could in that situation. Yeah. He did overcommit just a little bit.
He was a pixel away from living. That's fine.
Under the tower.
Yeah.
But here we go, split push up again. This is what you got to do, because you're not going to be able to 5v5 unless you want to dive under a tower.
Yeah.
So Prey just by himself. The culling, I guess, missing all of it. That was a little weird.
I think he hit like one. It's more like that was more like the dulling.
Indeed, Doa.
Yeah. There you go.
Watching this Lucian versus Vayne split push match is certainly the dulling. Oh!
The dulling. Well, condemned for the dulling.
And finally,
there we go. The turret. Good job.
Manages to take it out as the rest of his team rotates that mid lane. We'll take that one out as well.
Kane tried to get a play there, but didn't quite connect with it. Was a little bit out of range. They do get that tier 2 turret. 5 turrets to 2 now in favor of Najin Blacksword.
IM2 committing a lot of resources to stopping Prey here instead of saving their other tier 2 turret. I guess they're resigned to the loss of that objective at the moment.
I guess so.
I'm so disappointed, Doa. You know, I really liked IM2's composition. It is transparent, and Najin Blacksword read it well and itemized well. But they squandered their opportunities with insufficiently aggressive rotations in the early game. They should have just gone all in, you know?
Yeah.
Played the base race game with their composition. They would have won. They would have won that base race if Najin Blacksword had tried to counter with the same thing. You just have to be as aggressive as can be. And it can be intimidating to be in the booth. It can be intimidating to execute these strategies.
Yeah.
But
Well, I feel like Reignover's Nunu just was not his best performance ever. You know, he really played it like most people would jungle in general right now, where in this type of composition, you really just need to be going lane to lane, pushing turrets and being like, all right, I'm sorry I can't come and sit in your lane for 3 minutes, you know, helping you hold your turret.
You use Smite and Consume to help with the wave clear.
Yeah, he didn't play Nunu like you need to play it in this comp.
Yeah, I agree. But it's also Betkyo was Najin Blacksword was putting that pressure on in the bot lane in order to basically say to Betkyo and Undal, you're going to miss a lot of CS if you don't come down here. We may take your turret. And instead of just forcing their strategy, instead of going to that mid lane and pushing right back in return, they continue to go and try and CS the waves, which is not a good idea because it just buys more time for Najin Blacksword to buy more and more armor items. And now that Expression now has a Thorn Mail on top of everything else and a Locket, I mean, Expression has...
Unkillable.
Yeah, Expression has something like, I just estimate like 350 armor right now.
Yeah, I feel like, too, Najin's Sword did one of the best sports, moves you can really do in any sort of team sport is you pick on the new guys, You pick on that bot lane in this particular case, and you kind of take advantage of the fact that these guys are rookies, are not as much used to the booth, not as much used to playing at this level, and you try to take advantage of that, and I think they've done a good job of shutting down Betkyo and Undal.
Well, they certainly have done that. Prey heading back. Looks like he may try and pick up a GA right here. He's waiting for something.
Buy a GA, the Prey.
Oh, it's a QSS.
Oh, okay. Oh, well.
So I guess worried about the very small amount of CC that IM2 has. Weird itemization from Prey this game.
He's worried about getting hit by a snowball, man.
Or Crescendo, I guess. But it's not too high priority on the composition that IM2 is running. You think he want a little bit more armor instead.
Yeah. Well, Prey just continues to farm. And a little bot lane.
They may try and rush Baron here. That's what they're going to do. They can do it very quickly with Prey in the bot lane. This may be a mistake from Najin Blacksword. Najin Blacksword's going to have to go in 4v5.
Yeah, they're going to go for it. Expression, there's the ultimate for Nunu, keeping people out. Expression comes in. Can he get the steal? No, he can't. But now the fight has begun. Kane with a huge box in the back line. Expression wraps people out, taking that lantern away. And watch gets done. Oh, wow, actually, Nagne gets a kill. And now Sword pushing back even with that Baron buff. IM just can't stand up to it.
And this is another questionable decision from Najin Blacksword because they have lost control of the Baron vision, and then Prey goes into the bot lane. And against 280 carries and Nunu, you can't leave that Baron there. Yeah, Najin Blacksword won the fight because they were ahead, but it was still a bad decision.
That's the thing is that these are the type of things that will win games, right now, but they may not win games against the other teams in this group. Either way, it looks like they should be able to get an inhibitor out of this.
Yeah, they will be able to. And again, it's because they had already developed a pretty substantial lead. I mean, they've got 10K gold lead even after we saw the Baron go over to IM2.
Right.
So, but in general, the shot calling right there was pretty darn poor from Najin Blacksword, and that kind of highlights the problem. Well, and like you're saying, Doa, yes, it works against IM2 because they have this lead, but it's not going to work against every team ever.
Let's watch this fight again.
Yeah, especially coming into the backlines right there. Ties up Betkyo and Reignover. And Kuro ends up using the culling right here. Again, a nice play from Prey to buy some more time. And here we go with the culling, but Expression is just so tanky right now. Another good shockwave coming in. There's just nothing they can do to kill Expression, and that's the only thing that really causes Najin Blacksword to win the fight.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see what the rest of the games in this group look like. Or the rest of the games tonight, honestly. We do have one more game between these two teams after this either way.
Expression has 423 armor right now. You know, at a certain point, it's probably just it's probably just overkill to be picking up that much armor when maybe you want to get some more, let's say, HP after a while, because of course the diminishing returns on armor and MR make 423 maybe not that great, although he does have nearly 4,000
health.
HP.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's not doing too bad in the health department either.
I mean, maybe he wants to get some more damage.
Yeah, maybe. Okay.
This is
That did a lot.
This is the case of the ace in the hole somehow slipping through in this game.
Yep.
Najin Blacksword moving down into that bot lane, taking advantage of the fact the top lane inhibitor is already down. The wave's pushing up. PLL looking for an angle on the back line here.
He may have one too. We'll see. They're throwing down some wards to try to give them vision, and PLL coming in from behind. There's a culling.
Oh, they catch Bray really nicely right there.
Yeah, they do. He got very, very low. Had to get the
PLL
command protect. PLL waiting to come in. Pops the Thomas. Oh, the play in the box. Can Bray live? There's the barrier. PLL over him. No way. Amazing support play from Kane to keep him away. Expansion jumping into the back lines to help out everybody, keeping the carry alive. And now Najin Sword on the chase yet again.
That was a great bait from Najin Blacksword. They have triple
yeah.
shield. They have the Thresh Lantern. There's a three-man shockwave.
And that is going to be a near ace. Lucian just barely escaping with his life. Kuro making it out of the fight, or did he? Oh, nearly getting killed by that command attack, but that's going to be the end of the game right there. Najin Blacksword.
Yeah, that was a great bait onto Prey with triple shield. Barrier, wow, takes out Watch before he goes, but Barrier, Dark Passage, and Command Protect all used to shield Prey.
Yep. And there goes the Nexus. And there goes game number 1 in the bag in favor of Najin Blacksword. Not the prettiest affair we've ever seen, but a win is a win is a win. And a little bit of relief on Sword's side, too.
I mean, definitely a very interesting game that showcases what we've seen, the shifts in the meta over the last few weeks, or a month rather, since the World Championship. You can see a lot of different champions being used, a lot of different strategies being used right there.
Right.
And I love what IM2 did. I loved it. I just wish that they had, again, been a little bit more aggressive early on and more dedicated to doing what their comp does, which is group and siege early.
Yeah, that little bit more of assertive play from Nunu would have helped out a lot, and I feel like they learned a valuable lesson. I mean, that's going to be a really good game for them to go back and watch in practice later. I mean, you hate to lose, but at least I feel like that's a valuable loss for IM. They can learn a lot from that game.
Well, it also shows how smart they are as a team.